Emigrant, Montana.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for making the trek to be here with us on the Woo Crew.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So welcome, Dennis, and let's just start right with it. Tell us, what is integral breathwork? That's what you teach and practice.
Yeah. I've coined the phrase integral breathwork, and that's my website. Now, integral, you can think of integral, the definition being missing no essential parts. So we try to bring into the breathing work and the breath work everything that we know about the modern science of breathing, the physiology of good breathing, how to improve the breathing, how to get it optimized, and then we lie down and do a bunch of good breathing. And that activates the whole body, gets your cells all happy with oxygen, and defatigues the body or detoxifies the body.
Now, you mentioned doing good breathing. What is the difference between good breathing and the breathing that we regularly do?
Well, you know, a lot of that has to do with posture. If people are squunched down or in the lazy boy chair or even car chairs, car seats, they all tend to kind of make everything squunch forward. And that can stop the diaphragm, can constrict the shoulders, and basically can lead to poor breathing. And, you know, there are emotional reasons for poor breathing. Sometimes when people are depressed or anxious, they'll do this. A lot of times if people are under stress, they'll stop their breathing. And they say that goes back to the jungle when you were crouching in the bush and there's a tiger going by. You know, so that's a kind of a fight or flight response to either stop the breathing or shallow down the breathing. And a lot of people are chronically breathing poorly, and that restricts everything else in their life. Their whole nervous system functions differently. And, you know.
So what is good breathing? I mean, we can tell, you take a breath, it might go deep, it might stay shallow. Should it do all of those things? Or?
Well, you know, breathing can be all over the map, and there's lots of different ways that people teach breathing. Yogic breathing can be very slow breathing. What we like to teach in our seminar is what we call optimal breathing, which is really opening up the whole torso to a nice big breath. It's really supposed to start down low in the torso, get nice and full down there, not just in the front, but even on the sides and the back should expand, and even down the bottom, what we call the pelvic floor. So we like to visualize almost like a beach ball down there. It doesn't have to be visualizing a big belly, but the expansion should be 360 down there. And if that is happening, that means your diaphragm is doing its job, and your diaphragm is your number one breathing muscle.
Yeah. Now, on your website, and in your book, you show a kind of a pear shape, and that's for me kind of a good, a good visual.
It's a good visual for the first part of the inhale, and the pear moves into what we call the cone, which is more the rib and chest expansion. So that happens secondarily. But 70% of your inhale should be low and full, down low. I don't know if you can get a shot of my belly or anything.
Well, now, there we go.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So show us now what you're talking about.
Watch my hands and watch how that expands. Now you can see secondarily you're going to have some movement here. There's going to be a rippling upward effect or a wave-like effect on the inhale. So if I put my hands here and here, so there is some good chest expansion, some good rib movement. A lot of people's ribs are stuck down. Whether they're barrel-chested or they're sunken-chested or somewhere in between, their ribs just they're not moving, they're not flexible. They're supposed to move up like 14, what we call 14 bucket handles, 14 U-shaped ribs, right?
Oh.
So they're actually supposed to wing up. And that creates extra space in the whole thoracic cavity.
So is integral breathing a method to learn to breathe, every minute of our life, or is it a particular technique to have healing experiences, or some of each?
It's kind of both. The way we practice breathing work and breath work is kind of like a marrying of two fields. One is more the physiological understanding, assessing, measuring, and then seeing where the dysfunctions are, fixing those, get it working really well, then lying down and using this new expanded breathing mechanism to your health and benefit by oxygenating your body and having all kinds of wonderful energy experiences with the breath and just feeling what it's like to be calm and energized and oxygenated.
Yeah. So there's kind of a way that you were showing us to put our hands to kind of test ourselves or to test each other to see if we're breathing properly. And
would you like me to test you?
Well, sure, you can. Fortunately, I sat behind the table today, so you can't see my stomach. But yeah, sure, you can. I don't know if that will be helpful, but you can show people.
Let's pretend you're somebody from the audience. So
okay.
I'll just the same thing I would tell them to do. I'll tell you to do.
So you can
take your hand,
join in.
Yeah, take your hand there and there.
Okay.
Okay, the lower hand is kind of below the navel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where it's going to expand, nice and low.
Okay.
All right, and as you're sitting, it's good to kind of tweak or torque that rear end backwards towards the seat, so you're sitting a little higher up in the chair. Now, just take a deep breath without trying to think about changing your breath.
Okay.
And see if you can get a sense of what's moving first and where is it moving.
Yeah,
okay, now,
up here for sure.
It is moving in your chest first and that's very typical of ladies. I'd say about 75% of the ladies are high chest breathers. And there's lots of different reasons for that. Some of them are societal. They were told not to let it hang out down there as they were growing up, or they tried to suck it in. Pregnancy tends to stop lower diaphragmatic breathing, and then it doesn't kick back in after pregnancy. So, and for men, they actually have a kind of a different problem. We joke around in our seminar and we say, the quickest way to a man's heart is through his
stomach.
Yeah, okay. So, and men tend to be good belly breathers, it's called, but it's not really belly. It's the diaphragm going up and down that makes the expansion below the diaphragm happen. If your diaphragm is kicking in, and it's supposed to go up and down about 4 inches with each breath. Wow. Most people, they're at about a ½ inch or 1 inch. Another measurement we take at the seminar is that rib movement. We put a tape measure up here, right up under the armpits. And people are going to have like less than 1 inch or 1 inch of expansion. It's supposed to be 3.5, 4 inches of the movement of the ribs up and down.
Well, there's so much in the breath. I mean, I'm hearing so many different things: the depth of breathing, shallowness of breathing, area that you're breathing, and I would guess all these things correlate perhaps to issues and things that are going on in life, or? Well,
yeah. I mean, the breath tends to be sort of like the canary in the mind. And if it's shut down, there's probably something going on somewhere else in your life. But the good news is, if you fix the breathing, you can expand on some of those other areas of your life as well. So you can kind of start with the breathing to kickstart other healing in different parts of your body, emotional, mental. How many times have people said, take a deep breath when you want to relax and energize or calm down? So. Yeah.
And one of the things I know that you talk about certain medical conditions that the breathing can help with, probably anything really, but I know a few that you have mentioned are like asthma and insomnia. I mean, a lot of people have trouble sleeping, and so would you do that before you try and go to sleep, or?
Deep breathing is an awesome thing to do right before you go to sleep. It's an awesome thing to do. You can use more of an energizing breath, a little quicker breath in the morning if you wake up and you're kind of groggy. The breath, trying to do deep breathing any time of the day, you're sitting at a red light. Take a few breaths, and calm yourself down instead of getting angry at the guy in the front of you. So it's just an awesome tool. One of the things that people don't really connect is breathing in cancer. That's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
You were talking about the diseases. In the 1930s, a man named Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize for determining that cancer will not grow in a cell that's well oxygenated.
Wow, really? Wow.
That its oxygen starvation is the primary cause of cancer. I mean, there are a host of secondary causes, and we all know those.
Right.
Yeah.
You name it.
Yeah.
Okay. But the primary reason why a cell stops functioning normally and healthily is because the cell itself is not respirating or bringing in oxygen at the cellular level and dispelling its toxins through carbon and the carbon dioxide at the cellular level. So